and welcome back to Morning Thailand. With us, continue with the political updates here on the situation. As you know, there would be a demonstrations ongoing here, and political turmoil seems to be the biggest problem here in Thailand already. So earlier on Tuesday, Kun Suthep Suban, the co-leader of the anti-government demonstration, said that there would be the proposal trying to invoke Section 7 of the Constitution, which would lead to the installation of the royally appointed Prime Minister. That raises a lot of eyebrows and concerns.
Of course.
Not just among the general public, but also the academics as well. Now, talking about the Section 7 of the Constitution, that would, as I said, lead the way for His Majesty the King to appoint the Prime Minister, the royally endorsed Prime Minister, instead of the elected one. People don't have to go to the ballot boxes. And Kun Suthep said that that would be the proper way to find a people to lead the country instead of this particular cabinet that they say has already lost its legitimacy to govern the country. And about the People's Council idea of Kun Suthep that has taken a heavy blow from the government, some of the Pheu Thai MPs has already come out and called it unconstitutional. So during the address to supporters at the government complex on Jang Watana Road, Kun Suthep said that if and when the so-called Thaksin regime and the government are wiped out, the sovereign power will return to the people as stipulated under Section 3 of the Constitution. And that particular Section 3 says that the sovereign power belongs to the Thai people, and the king, as the head of state, shall exercise the power through parliament, cabinet ministers and the courts in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. Kun Suthep said people from all walks of life will then have to choose the representatives from various professions to form the People's Council to work out policies and draw up legislation. This particular council, he said, will act as the legislative assembly to amend the laws and regulations and also push the national reform in order to change the country for the better. He said the council will select decent people with no affiliations to political parties to be an interim prime minister and form an interim government under Section 7 of the Constitution. However, there were rumors and circulations of the pictures and also the topics on Pantip website that I just came across. There was a list of the names of around 10 people that they said belongs to the People's Council. However, that list of the names did not. It has nothing to do with Kun Suthep's proposal. It was set up by another group of people. However, they were using the word People Council. That just coincides with this particular council. However, that made a lot of rumors and criticism against the names that had been put up on the internet. So just to be clear here, the particular group, the names that had been showed up and reported, did not the one that going to be in the People's Council proposed by Kun Suthep Suban.
Yeah, a lot of rumors at this point, especially with the social media. It just spread really, really fast.
And also about the interim government, Kun Suthep said that they will put the council national reform policy into practice, such as by implementing the plans to revamp the structure of the police forces so they come under the people's supervision and decentralizing power to the provincial governor. And when the national reform plans are carried out successfully, the general election will be called and the People's Council will end its role. And that was the proposal from the anti-government co-leader. However, there were some voices and opinions from the academic side. Kun Sukhum Nuansakul, former dean of the Ramkhamhaeng University, has come out and opposed this particular plan according to the Section 7 asking for the royally appointed Prime Minister. He said that it's not appropriate. If you want His Majesty the King to intervene every time that you have a political turmoil. and that would destroy the democratic system.
And of course, that's go in line with Kun Banhan Silapa Acha,
Yes.
the chief advisor of the Chat Thai Patana Party, who came out and talked about this as well, saying that they should not disturb the king. And of course, by requested that the king appointed the unelected prime minister, because if anything turned out bad, it's not going to be good for the prime minister. However, Kun Trakul Michai, the associate professor of the political science at Chulalongkorn University, also came out and talked about this a little bit as well. And I'm pretty sure Kun Chen will mention about this particular case. Now, they say that at this point, though, apart from the fact that we supposed to that they proposed this particular unelected prime minister, there has also been a move in terms of the government trying to restore both confidence from the foreigners as well as local investors right here in Thailand. However, it seems that the situation will not be that easy. At this point, they say that as of now, 37 countries has already issued travel warnings against Thailand for all their citizens already. They say that the latest country is Kazakhstan, and they put up in the level 3 warning, meaning that we should actually avoid going into I guess dangerous area or risk area. And this go in line, the level 3, the countries that announced level 3 warning are Slovak, Russia, Israel, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Romania, and the Philippines, along with, of course, Kazakhstan, who just joined the list. Now, level 2 warning has also been warned by 29 countries altogether, and that include Japan as well as several European Union. And this is one of the reasons why the Prime Minister have to call out for a particular meeting, trying to get everybody together in terms of trying to make sure that the benefits of the country has been restored, especially in terms of tourism side. Now they say that at this point, yesterday at about 10 o'clock, 4 key government agencies were actually called in for a meeting with the Prime Minister as a chairperson. Now they say that this is in order to release the stimulus plan to boost investors' confidence during this particular instability situation. Now, they say that the key objectives to this stimulus package is to ensure tourism as well as sustainable resource of the country, which is tourism itself, that is not affected by the political situation. And they say that they also trying to see whether or not new jobs could be created and through the tourism industry itself, if it is boosted. Now they say that Kun Yingluck believed to have raised these ideas in order to show the world community that Thailand was progressing economically and that traveling around Bangkok and elsewhere was convenient in general, with the exception of some area only where the militaries are holding it. Now they say that the 4 sectors or agencies that were called in yesterday, including Finance Ministry, the Tourism and Sports Ministry, Bank of Thailand was there as well, and the Office of National Economic and Social Development Board. Now they all has to come up with the draft by next year in order for this particular stimulus plan to be in place. And they say that Kun Surapong Tawichakchaikun, the foreign minister in particular, also attended the meeting and said that the Prime Minister has raised the idea of getting national carrier or Thai Airways to include more domestic flights for all the tourists, because there has been a report that there's several tourists from a few countries that actually coming into Thailand and then, or Bangkok, and then fly to the destinations, their traveling destinations right away instead of going through Bangkok. And which is still good, I mean, in terms of trying to get the tourists from Japan as well as Europe or even from China to go to Chiang Mai right away. Or Russia, they say that Russian tourists tend to get to Bangkok and then fly to or moved on to Pattaya or Kanchanaburi right away instead of staying in Bangkok. Of course, this create a bit of a loss in terms of revenue, because Bangkok, normally people would shop, right? They would go for shopping, they would visit Grand Palace. Well, that's kind of out of the questions at this point, because the gathering seems to hit the Ratchaprasong area.
Yeah.
And the gathering will be, the Siam Paragon has to close down their shop the other day just to be sure. Plus, Grand Palace at this point is probably off limit. If you don't have to be there, you shouldn't be there. And that was one of the biggest tourist destinations here in Thailand. So at this point, it seems like the Prime Minister is trying her best to make sure that everything, the confidence is restored.
And hope it works because don't forget, this is the high season for tourism here in Thailand with the wintry conditions and also up north in Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai provinces and Mae Hong Son, tourism was doing very good business there.
So, well, hopefully if the people understand that you can fly to Bangkok and then just, take another flight back. And plus Thai Airways will have more domestic flights ready for you. That might not be too much of a problem. All right, let's take a short break because when we come back, Kun Shane has a lot more to talk about, or at least give us a little bit more ideas in terms of the Article 7, what it is about and whether or not it's even doable.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.